Hey, right on time. In fact, early. Are you always the first guy on the set?
Oh, probably, yeah.
So many things I want to ask you about, but before I do that,
It's
aside from the
Darren,
world,
right? Darren?
yes, this is Darren.
Darren, where are you right now?
Long Island, New York, where you were born. Am I
Nice. Oh, wow. That is, well, anywhere I can be is good, but this is just beautiful. Yeah, uh, my home.
You're originally from Old Bethpage, or were you just born around there?
I ended up moving around. We, as a young family, that was my family name at that time, Youngs.
Yes.
We moved around, and I was born in Meadowbrook Hospital. My dad's home was out in Islip originally as a kid. That was
Okay.
pretty old and funky place. And we managed to, I experienced that beginning of people having come back from service at that time in
Sure.
Second World War. And a lot of the country's effort to give support was going on with GI Bill and things like that. My mom and others had gone to university, Delphi. They changed it to co-ed to make easier for men and people living in the area to go to school. And I
Right.
believe there was government support for education. And, we finally got a house. Lived in Brooklyn or Forest Hills, and I had friends from Brooklyn. I got to go there, and I admired that part of the island as a young boy. My grandma had a place right across from the tennis courts in Forest Hills, and in Brooklyn, it was wow. This has got Italian families over. I couldn't cross the street as a kid. I don't know. I was staying probably with relatives. It's old Dutch, community too
Right.
for us. And there's got across the street that way. You got Polish community, and over this way, you got this. You can't cross the street. Well, all the boys were singing on the corner with their cool coat jackets on and their hair slicked back. But the younger kids, we'd see each other, we'd play together, we'd get together. And it's weird because once we moved out into Old Bethpage, well, actually we moved to Levittown.
Yeah.
That was why we saw it, and it was a field. And a year later, it was 1,000 houses. So
Yeah.
I was growing up. I was very young, 4 to 5 years old around then, and then the score, the most beautiful house on Long Island, most beautiful neighborhood, Old Bethpage. Pretty great area. But now you go to Levittown. I haven't been there in a while, but I'm sure it looks gorgeous. It was just little box houses, but the trees that we planted and I remember planting trees and doing stuff. They must be huge now. Beautiful. Yeah.
Really famous comedy club in Levittown where a lot of TV shows and productions have used it, but said, oh, this is Oklahoma. Oh, this is New Jersey. So it's
Right.
popping up every now and then in TV, Levittown.
TV brought a lot of America closer. Um, and like to be able to be a part of this particular show at this time, it's an honor. It's an honor being considered, for an Emmy as a guest on
Right.
SEAL Team because I am older. I've been close to military, like in my own family. My grandpa was brought in to live with us. He served in the First World War, watched 1,000 casualties and death in France from gas and other stuff. And he, I later on I asked him how, because he went to the Bowery. His beautiful, my grandma I never really met, beautiful grandma. I saw one picture, whoa, and my aunts was gorgeous. So even as a little kid, yeah, but the talented athletes, that side of the family, swimmers, divers, and my dad was, a lifeguard at Jones Beach, like at
Wow.
17, and he went into the Corps at 17. They let people in at 17, even with bad feet. But he was 6'8", tough kid, and he served at Guadalcanal and lost his squad as a gunner. Didn't talk about that stuff much, but he did have difficulty sleeping at times.
Right.
Over
PTSD.
time, my mom would help me understand, and he was very quiet, like when he brought his dad to live with us, because my grandpa, who worked to support all of the my aunts and uncles and my dad, didn't. Once they went into military, Second World War, it was like, I believe he didn't want to wait to see what happened. So he went to the Bowery. Don't call me, don't find me, don't look for me. But he had this really, he had a sensitivity about him. He was a tough guy too. And my dad brought him to live with us, and he appreciated it, but he was very quiet, very calm. And he was an athlete too, like my dad, champion runner. And like, they used to bet on the kids in New York, in schools, move them around, and he'd make them a dime or $10 or not $10, like a few bucks.
Yeah.
And those were little stories that come out of him every once in a while. But anything about the military,
Yeah, don't ask, don't tell with all that. But as you just mentioned, Emmy contender. But that is far from your first great role or your first acclaimed role. So what was the role that you were most proud of before this possible nomination?
it's hard for me to get away from this television show, because of the fact the team part absolutely is so significant, and the compassion and the difficulty. Look at how it's written for the guys when they're not feeling good or they have difficulties. These people, men and women, have been in service. They're not maybe even 30 years old yet, but more than 10 years. And when David Boreanaz is dealing with issues, he's lost this guy or that guy, that's his world, that's his family, that's his life. And dealing with the outside world is not really possible. And to come home, that's the point, is to show this effort of coming back. It's a simple time limit and dialogue, but it hits the nail on the head every time, with their relationships, with their growth, years. And I don't work, but I attend groups with men and women like this now, for different areas of recovery, for me and for them. And they're not 30 years old yet. And here you have men and women with over 10 years, some of them, in active duty. So there's issues, and there's things that help others too. That's what the show brings to us now, is community. And your politics is blah, 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 and this guy and that, and all your politics, this and that. Well, the president came to visit us while we were in the desert in Pakistan, and that meant a lot to me. Those little things mean a lot. That's your experience. Thank you for sharing that with me. And okay, you know what? Let's go to a meeting, and we'll do that. We'll discuss personal issues at this moment, and the world outside. If we do come up with something, if they do, if my friends do, or people, man or woman, first of all, maybe they need to just be with men. Maybe she just needs to be with women. Maybe they're going to go do service in a hospital for some older people, or vets that are kind of. I used to watch my father as a little boy. He took me to the VA, and in the house, men coming together in a corner. What are they talking about? What are they doing? Well, just go over there with your mom. Well, maybe a guy came back from North Korea, and they're just sitting together with a drink, being supportive, and not saying a word, and going through stuff. It's like we were just saying, just there are buttons in people.
Yeah.
Nope, don't want to go there. Let's go like some of the guys I'm with. We do this. I've been on this. They do these internet. What do they call those radio shows on internet? We get together. And everybody's got different stuff, but we share dialogue. And those people in that march, which I thought was so significant now. But those people, they destroyed those shops right down Fairfax. Those poor people, why did they do that? you know what? Let's go down there and see if we can help. Let's go down there and see if we can build that. These guys don't have jobs. They don't have money. Let's go down there, give them a hand. Let's show them we support, against those idiots. There's a lot of idiots in the world that are also really ready to become involved in their different place in life. I saw this as a kid. I didn't want to do the movie here and play a hippie. I was doing a great play, and Milos, the great director from Czechoslovakia, we talked about his movies going through communist occupation as a kid.
Right.
Ivan Passer would say to me, he says, we started the movie and we just wanted to follow the path of the human experience and what people were going through. And that was, for me, the music in here. I saw more to what I was going through. I had friends, I just went to work. I got married, had kids, I was young. I was helped with music people to help me sing in that nightclub and get things together and help me get to Broadway. Teachers that were helping me, And this issue at the time, everything was changing.
Right.
New energy was a big thing. I had friends that went away and like my dad, my mom told me one couple that I couldn't remember, but I knew what they looked like. Well, they didn't have their kids yet, and they went down to the South for civil rights.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody in the house was Republican, and I thought that meant being involved with civil rights, our community, everything. It was with the handout. Hello, my name is so-and-so. Come on, let's go. We'll go to your temple on a weekend. We're going to your neighborhood. I like that. I shot baskets with your father when he was a kid. African-American baby. My dad was a basketball freak. Then it was, my friends who went to college, Jeff Miller was shot and killed at Kent State.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of Israel. He threw a rock at National Guard. I don't know. Maybe. That could have been the extent of something. He was against the Vietnam War. And at the same time, him and a bunch of other young students, because he was really smart, were working on building solar power sources and hydrogen power, using diesel engine stuff and making new sources of energy and living together maybe on a commune, building new energy.
Right.
They were not dropouts. But same thing what I saw later on was this essence of compassion. I see it in people coming back from, and in the story of men overseas and women overseas. You don't have a choice. If you're not going to be considerate of this guy who you're fighting with right now and may go down with him, hey, give me a hug, man. Afterwards, we gotta survive. We have to stay together. We need each other. And that's the way it is in our world today. Well, whatever men and women are going to go through, police, kids, you see a lot of them hugging each other, and you see a lot of them getting beating each other. This is a family. This is what happens. I resent that guy. Those kids. Young people who are different than me, I saw in other countries with a spirit of faith. No shoes, T-shirts that couldn't even cover their belly. And yet they had hope. They had faith. Maybe they had talent. And some of them wanted to come together to really stand up and have a voice. Got to be careful. But they also had adults working with them in their effort for change. We saw that in the Occupy movement. Moms grabbing their big son away from a police officer. You stay with us. You stay away from confrontation. Let them do their job. They're there to set a boundary, which we need sometimes. Sometimes we got to move them. And right now, these marches all over the world,
I can imagine it hits home. And, We talked about SEAL Team, acclaimed. I really hope you do get that deserved Emmy. Not your first prominent war or military related film. And of course, The Deer Hunter is the first time I found out about you, even though Hair was the breakout film. But when you're making serious things like this, are there ever fun or funny moments on set?
Totally. It's an emotional experience. And like I said, whoa, I'm getting a little too serious here. Let me calm down. There is that. Well, hopefully those adjustments with people really working hard, crew, um, changes that have to be made. It's hard work.
Yeah.
And, for me to acknowledge this show, is this really a commercial television show? Maybe it's different. It's not a comedy. It's action, but it's also bringing character work across between people of differences in gender involved in this effort over there. But this process of this execution of dialogue and relationships and changes and different stuff, it's really fast sometimes. There's many different things going on, and yet those people are vibrant. They're real. You go there, and this chance to bring it home, for me to be a part of that. This is where we all live, is with that. What do we do now? How do I do this with my family? My father doesn't have a job. I can't do enough to please people. I'm not getting my work. Or everybody's smoking dope and drinking and carrying on, and they seem to be okay, and I'm not. I tell you, it's not working. Hey, sometimes we don't have all the answers. Who do you call? Hey, Frank. Hey, how you doing? Oh, good. Yeah, me too. I'm fine. No, I'm not. Yeah, you too. Oh, man, let's get together. Let's go shoot baskets. Let's do something. This is important, especially now. Yeah, we got to keep a distance. We got to keep the mask on. Yeah, don't hug me anymore. No shaking hands. And be polite, but tell people to move back. I don't like that part. That guy comes up to me, talks right in my face all the time. This is our world today.
Yeah.
To
say the least, it's a different world than any other time. I would say it started off like the aftermath of 9/11, which things went back to normal in a lot of ways after 2-3 weeks after 9/11.
Brought people together. I mean, it really, because a lot of people in New York couldn't even leave their apartment.
Right.
I have friends, like women friends. And even now, my ex, Sue, back east, or my friend up the street, they call me for support, just to talk. No, I don't want to see you. Don't come over. No. I'm not going out. No.
Yeah.
And there's really two truths, as always. Well, I know the truth. Really? I guarantee you there's another truth.
Yeah.
And we need to get together and work and make money and open things up. And yes. And some people die if they get sick in this situation right now, and it's getting worse. So maybe we have to figure a new approach.
Yeah.
When we demonstrate and want our marches recognized, I would say most of the people wore a mask and purposefully were distant from each other as much as possible. Not always. It was passion that was involved. They would rather almost die for some of the things they were demonstrating for. And setting fires or destroying other people's shops, well, you got to deal with the consequences. A lot of people saw that, and they came together even with political differences to go help them. And this is our world. It's going to be up and down forever. Changes. What happened? I thought everything was okay. Nothing's ever going to be okay, no matter what I do. Maybe not. And so this for me, the element of the writing in this context, to me is important now. All right. This disease could kill you.
Right.
So we want to be conscious. And that consciousness will affect everything else too. It's like getting sober. What do you have to change?
Everything.
Not everything. It's simple.
Yeah.
And the breathing part is very important. So, I appreciate you spending time with me.
Well, can I ask you 2 or 3 quick questions, or do you have another interview to get to right away?
Are you kidding me? I love to talk. Come on. Yeah, there's other stuff. I don't know. I think I've got an appointment at 10, so I'm okay.
Okay, I'll make this as quick and painless as possible. And hopefully these are things that people haven't asked you before, haven't done my research and all. So nowadays, the last name Savage, Fred Savage, Ben Savage, Michael Savage, Randy Macho Man Savage, everyone is savage, and savage is kind of a term that young people use to describe when things are kind of fierce or whatever you want to call it. You're probably the first savage that I ever noticed. Were there any other savages before you?
Oh, totally, totally. The young man that one of my first girlfriend was talking to, when I saw her talking to him, he was extremely good looking. He was very bright, and I was not. But the thing was, his name was Savage. And I was disturbed by that. But I was already away from that area. I was working.
Mm-hmm.
And my intention was to keep working in the city. I was young. I don't know how old I was. I started really young with the help of Ben Origo and his beautiful wife, Italian musician, teachers, opera singers. Gosh, and teachers I had my whole life. Every single teacher gave me that little extra. Hello, wake up. Why don't you just read this? Why don't you look at this? Why don't you just and like some of them may punish me. I had a teacher, Mel Tannenbaum. I got hit in the throat with a hockey puck. John, stop looking out the window. You didn't do your homework again. Get up here and sing the national anthem. Come on, get up here and sing. Who, me? Oh, well, I was singing in church as a boy.
Mm-hmm.
I like to hide behind the adults and love the music. So I got up and I sang. And I had a good voice. People liked it. Hey, John, you got a good voice. Good for you. We should get you in a choir. We should do this. He helped me. The next time he got me up there, I had to read in front of it because I got punished. So go read this thing. And I started making jokes and getting laughs. I feel I might have, if I'd pursued that career, I might have become the next Robin Williams. I was a little crazy, but not that good. And that effort to be a part of a group or other people led me into theater and music with just the greatest experiences I find. But even today, my imagination I have to pull it back because it can also really bring me down too if I'm not careful.
And then when I go through your IMDb page,
Savage, because the union wouldn't let me use my family names.
Right, there's a lot of John Young and John Youngs out there.
I was working for months off Broadway and Union and then Broadway and Fiddler on the Roof. The Union, oh yeah, I'm Union. Oh look, I gotta go. I got my kids waiting outside. Hurry up! And in addition, boom, I got in the show. I was in the chorus. You know who was in that show?
Who's that?
Bette Midler.
Okay.
She was one of the stars, yeah.
Well, I was impressed with the Jimmy Durante impression that you just did. I don't know if that was intended to be a Jimmy Durante, but it was a pretty good one.
All right, yeah. I think that was my teacher. Right.
So another thing is when we go through your IMDb page, you have a lot of projects that are still coming out in post-production. You never stopped working. You've worked with the best of the best, of course. But one person you worked with that always intrigues me is Valerie Bertinelli. You worked with her on a film called Silent Witness. Did you have any encounters with Eddie Van Halen at all?
I think I met him years later. What an incredible artist and just incredible, genius guitarist. I imagine, we talked, Valerie loved him very much, and was completely supportive. He had some issues.
Sure.
And she was brilliant. And that program, I'm going to be doing something with my partner, Blanca Blanco, will be in Detroit for a story about abuse that's based on a true story. And it meant a lot to me, that story I did with Valerie. She put it together. She worked on it. I worked with some great women who are actors, but I've also pulled things together. As this woman has pulled this movie we're going to shoot. And I'll be a judge to watch the trial process. And it's a good part. It's like one of the areas of a movie that you don't have to talk a lot, but you're like the reflection of the different things going on. And I'm looking forward to the script. I've read it. It's very good. I'm sorry I talk so much, but
no, you are giving me plenty here, and you deserve it because you've done a lot. Therefore, you can talk a lot.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. It can be uncomfortable when people are like yawning and walking away. And
no yawning here, John. That's a promise.
You remind me so much of somebody I know. I want to make sure we hook up. Blanca will make sure you get my link and I get yours.
Thank you, man. Hey, longtime fan of your work. My wife's favorite movie of all time is The Deer Hunter. So when I said I'm speaking to John Savage, she said, well, you got to ask him this, this, and this. And here we are. So
the last full measure is out, and that goes even further with the coming home area of a true story with recognition by others of the experience and sacrifice of everyone. Like in this, you get to see him going to home and families and connection to him. But the last full measure goes with a situation that occurred for years afterwards. And it's very uplifting. Sam Jackson's in it.
Right.
It's a great cast. Amy Madigan. And it's a personal thing like this TV show. You know, this is on, it's a new story all the time. And when these people are dealing with their issues, I think right now we need to see that experience for our world today.
Well said. And as you just mentioned, the last full measure came out last year. Great cast. One of many, many recent and or forthcoming projects from you. So the last question, John, is any last words for the kids?
Any last words for the kids?
Yeah, you seem suitable to give some good advice there.
Well, there's a lot of young people today just looking like they're coming into an astounding awareness, you know, with so much stuff going on and so much information and so much creativity. I'd like to see more of that creative area of our world in schools and supported. You know, a lot of them go in the military for a buck. As my dad used to joke about it. Young men and women today. You know, it's service. How many other ways do we have, or we do have, that are not recognized, of young people working with groups overseas and involved? I mean, you go to other countries and you'd be surprised. You've got, like we do in California, 160 cultures in one county. I don't think there was that many countries.
Right.
Go to places like South Africa. It's not all elephants walking on the streets, you know. It's there, and we need to start thinking about our consciousness when it comes to the world, because of the people are crossing borders now, more so than 100 years, more so than years have gone by. They're just coming together, crossing borders, and needing to, in a lot of ways. But this is what they used to do.
Right.
You know, if we started having too much of a drought over a year period of time, well, let's pack up and move. And the Native American community, meaning North and South, you know, they cross borders. They move together. They move apart. Water, fight over it and then negotiate. Or negotiate first and then fight, you know. Right. Water is now being dealt with through groups like Christian groups or World Vision. And that is usually by American effort. all over the world. These American groups going to countries that are losing their crops. So is America. We are changing. People, we need those community groups. Katrina down south. And I saw people down there volunteering. I was down there briefly. That friends of mine lost their homes. My ex with her Catholic group was down in Mississippi. This is of the many areas of our life where we can come together as shown with all those people on the street. There are and more organizations for recovery, let's put it that way, for military service and continuing with life. You know, we can't leave it all up to other people. We talk and yell at the government. We can do it together. You know, this is it. We are the government. Don't tell anybody. You know? What you're doing right now, you're a journalist. This is good, you know. So good luck to you and your work. I don't know what I can do, but the young people coming up right now, you know, what a little bit I can do. I remember I used to be involved with unions beginning, like in South Africa for actors, changes that were going on. And after a while, some young friend of mine stood up and said, "John, you be quiet. You're not South African. We got it now." And I think the young people today are getting it, and they will continue to grow, and we will go through changes, and it's important. So,
well said, John. Well, can't thank you more for your time. Going to have this article posted in the next day or two, but really, thanks for your time. Keep up the great work, and hope you get that Emmy.
I do too. God bless you.
Thanks, man.
All of my guys on the Schiltz team. Thank you.
Paltrocast.